And welcome back to Mortgage Talk with Mark. I am your host, Mark Hairston, and behind me is my banner. My company is Texas Mortgage Source. We've been handling home loans in Austin, Texas for over 40 years and would love to help you. But in the meantime, I'm very excited. I've been working on this guy to get on this show for a while now. He's not only a good friend of mine, but he's also my business coach. So I'll be able to get some free coaching as well in the next 30 minutes with my friend Kai McBride. Hails originally from Los Angeles, and I told him we cannot talk about the Dodgers or the Lakers, okay, because that's one of his favorite subjects besides golf. We're going to talk about business, strategies, marketing, AI, the future of small business development. So introduce yourself, Kai, and welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm very
And he's a funny guy.
I'm impressed that you went out of your way to create a fake podcast studio to get free coaching out of me. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
I need to do that
every
next
week.
time. I'm gonna set up a podcast studio, like call my favorite coaches really expensive and say, hey, let me interview you. Let me ask you a few questions and get
That's
like
right.
free coaching.
That's right. Yeah. So let's jump into it, man. Tell us a little bit about your background. I talked about LA in a way, but tell me about your background.
Oh, my background's interesting. For those that know me as a coach, and I've been coaching the mortgage industry, real estate industry for the past 15 years. I've been in the mortgage industry for 25 years.
Yeah.
But my past background was I spent 9 years in software development and like network setup. So I'm a tech guy at heart. I'm a project manager at heart. And in 2001, when the dot-com crashed and I switched over to doing loans, I mean, how many people, that do loans or do real estate really chose that as their first profession? Maybe real estate, right? But definitely not loan officers.
It's kind of
like a fallback plan.
For sure. That's not, yeah.
Right. So it was a fallback plan for me after my tech career. And this is an interesting story because I remember when I got started, my mentors who got me into the business, I said, I'm not really a salesperson. I'm not like a relationship person. I don't want to go visit offices and things like that.
Right.
And they said, no, but what you really are is you're a really great systems person. And that's really been like the foundation of my success over the past 25 years is the way that I look at things very systematically. I build things in my head, just like I'm building software projects. And then I learned sales. I learned all that extrovertedness along the way. You would never think so if you met me today. You'll see me on stage. I'm a salesperson. I understand marketing.
Right.
I'm a high network person, but those skills were learned for me.
Sure.
Right. And so those were, I guess you could say, my weaknesses that I learned and what my real strengths are. Well, I don't want to say my weaknesses, but I eventually learned those things.
Yeah.
And, why do I say that? Because if you would have met me 25 years ago, you would have not seen a salesperson, right? You would have seen somebody very, very technical, right? Yeah. Now, I think one of the things that holds business owners back is that they define themselves and they keep themselves in that cage. They say, well, I'm not a technical person, right? Like I've probably heard you say that. I'm not a technical person.
And I'm not really,
Right. But you can be if you want to be, right? Because if I would have said, I did say that I'm not a salesperson, but then I looked in the mirror and I said, but I have to become one if I'm going to be successful.
Sure.
I don't consider myself a speaker really, but I had to become one to be successful. I'm not even an extrovert, but I had to become one to be successful. And I think what's happening right now in business, to kind of jump into one of those subjects is as technology evolves, it's starting to become more mandatory in our lives, more mandatory in our businesses. And there's a lot of people still stuck in saying, well, I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at I'm not good at technology. I'm not good at AI. But if you keep saying that to yourself, 5 more years is going to pass and you're never going to get on the bandwagon.
That's exactly right. And I know you have a big name in the mortgage space because I knew your name way before I knew you, at least 15 years, on the big stage and otherwise. And when you came to Austin, I said, I really want to meet Kai. This is a couple of years ago. And so then we, of course, we're doing some business together as far as the coaching platform. But outside the mortgage space, you also coach, if you will, other small business people, things like that. So, there's probably trends or commonalities amongst businesses, in frustrations and and things like that. Maybe they lack in technology skills, marketing skills. People are stuck. A lot of people are stuck. So tell us a little bit about what kind of mistakes you see with small business people, whether it be lenders or others, and how do you help them get out? Do they look at strategy first? They look at execution, mindset. I guess a lot of it is around mindset, huh?
It is. So I can put people in different buckets, right? So are you just beginning? Are you $0 to $100,000 in income?
Got it.
And then the next bucket, which is 1 to 200,000. And then the next bucket, which is a little bit bigger, it's kind of like the 2 to 5, and then like the 5 to a million, right? So really just a lot of it really depends on where you are. Okay.
Right.
When you're first starting out, you're going to dominate your time with sales and marketing because you have to make a buck. You have to make a buck. And I think the biggest mistake that I see people make is fall into the sales trap. That's really what it is. So I'm going to look at all
like working in their business as opposed to working on their business.
Yeah. I think one of the distinguishing factors, especially if you work for yourself,
which I do.
Are you self-employed or are you a business owner? Those are two completely different mindsets.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So somebody who's self-employed works in their business every single day. They do loans and they sell. They do loans and they sell. A business owner will actually structure their business and work on the things that make a business great and sustainable. They will work on their systems.
Scale.
They will work on their technology. They will work on things that will allow them to scale the business, but most importantly, create autonomy for themselves so they're not in the business.
Right.
They're not in the business. And it's the difference between, so my favorite business book of all time is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Michael Gerber, yeah.
Right. And so if you're a great cook and you decide to open up a restaurant, but you're the chef, you're just self-employed.
Yeah, you have a job.
It's not until you actually create a restaurant that you're not the chef do you actually own a business.
Like Emerald.
Right. And I think a lot of people, they struggle with that because they said, wait a second, I opened up a restaurant because I wanted to be a chef. It's right. It's like, right, but you're self-employed because you have to be there to cook every single meal.
Right.
And nobody else can cook it. Right. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being self-employed, but what I'm saying is that limits you.
Yep.
Yeah. Right? So you're going to hit that $200,000, $300,000 ceiling, and you can't really scale until you can replace yourself.
Yeah. I remember our friend Todd Duncan said it best, I think, when he was talking to a larger group. This is years ago. And he says, let's take a guy who's been in business 20 years as a loan officer. Have you been a loan officer for 20 years? Or you've been in business 1 year 20 times, because are you doing the same things over and over?
Oh, it's even worse. It's even worse than that for most business owners. I wouldn't say 1 year 20 times. It's actually 1 month 240 times because every month you're resetting. Every month you're resetting. How much money did I make this month? Right. So think about it this way. Business owners will look at somebody who's employed and they will say, well, you work paycheck to paycheck, you're 9 to 5. But if you think about it, somebody who is self-employed, it's worse because they're also living paycheck to paycheck and they're working 24/7.
Right.
It's worse. Now, do they make more money?
Potentially.
They could.
Yeah.
But look at the time they invest in their business, how much autonomy they have. Because I always ask business owners this one question. What's the number one reason why you got into business? They say, well, I wanted to be my own boss. And I say,
freedom.
I get that.
Freedom.
They say, well, I wanted freedom. I wanted to take time off. And I say, well, you got none of that. As a matter of fact, your boss, which is yourself, is worse than any boss because I saw you at Disneyland get out of line to take that phone call instead of staying in line with your kid. Right. I mean, if you had a job, that would have been vacation time. Okay. And so I think I coach other industries. I coach tech. I coach attorneys, real estate. I coach some people in the medical and health fields. And in those industries, so like in the mortgage industry, I coach people from beginner level all the way through. But in those industries, I coach from intermediate level up because I'm not going to teach a doctor how to get his patients. Right. But what I will teach a doctor is how to structure his practice, how to hire other doctors, how to set up his nurse, his systems and everything correctly to really grow and scale his business. Otherwise, he's just going to be a single doctor seeing a max amount of patients. And then when he goes on vacation, nobody can see the doctor.
And he doesn't make any money that week or whatever.
He doesn't make any money that way.
Yeah,
right. Now I get it. Some people say, well, didn't you get into business to be a doctor? And I says, well, of course, but you're still kind of self-employed versus the person that owns the hospital. Right. There's a difference.
Or the whole clinic. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's dig into
and so it's not that there's anything wrong with being self-employed. It's just that what was your goal in life? Mm-hmm. And if your goal in life was to build something, if your goal was to have freedom and autonomy, well, you're not going down that path.
Yeah. Let's dig into that a little bit, because this is where we are, you and I, in my business, and we're starting to hit a lot on CRM. Let's talk a little about scaling business,
Yeah.
And I know you focus a lot, because you're a tech guy, on CRM and communication tools like that. Can you kind of share with the audience a little bit about what kind of advice you give in that world, just to start?
Yeah. Well, first thing that I would say about CRMs is that that's a very ambiguous word.
Yeah.
Okay. So when somebody says to me,
what does it even mean?
Yeah. Right. Customer relationship manager.
Okay, there you go. Let's define, at least give the title,
Well, what they did was they said, we wanted to label a certain type of software that had customer communication, and we're going to call it a CRM. Right. But that's like saying we're going to label anything that has four wheels an automobile. Right. So what's the best automobile for you? I don't know. I don't know if you need a commuter car. I don't know what your budget is. Do you have a family? Do you need
my new Dodge Ram right now is my best car.
Right. And most people should or could get two cars if they wanted to, or if they had a family. Right. So here's the thing about CRMs. It's a very ambiguous term, because there's different types of CRMs. So there's CRMs that do your customer marketing for you, your database marketing for you. And its job is to constantly keep in touch with your clients through emails, through messaging, through everything else. But there's also another type of CRM, which helps you organize and convert your clients and your leads better. Right. And they're really two separate things. So it's like saying, well, I've got a luxury vehicle, but I have a commuter car. Now, some people say, well, technically your luxury vehicle could be a commuter car. I mean, technically it could, but it's a really expensive car to wear down, and does it get good gas mileage, right? And so what I find is that CRMs that are really, really good at lead management, customer management, contract management is not good at the marketing side. Mm-hmm. And the CRMs that are really, really good, they're built for marketing, are not great at the organizational side. So the first thing that I'm going to say is, more than likely you'll need two CRMs.
Okay.
Now, there are some CRMs that do both really well, right? Okay. That's like saying, hey, what if I get the $65,000 mid-sized SUV that gets decent gas mileage? Doesn't that do a little bit of everything? Of course. Yeah. But it's never going to be a truck. It's never going to be a commuter vehicle, and it's never going to be
a Lexus or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So there are CRMs that do a little bit of everything, but they're not great at one thing. Right. Yeah. So I look at CRMs in two different ways. When you look at the organizational CRMs, they organize your products. They organize your time. Sometimes they manage your calendar, but they also manage your leads and your contacts and your clients. That's the most important CRM for every business to have from day one.
Okay.
From day one. Because you have to create consistency in your process, in your customer engagement, in your follow-up.
Yeah.
And so another mistake that I see small businesses make, is not having a CRM system that organizes themselves, and you're at least 50% inefficient.
Okay.
So I have a client. Here's a real world example. I have a client. So there's a CRM out there called Monday.com. It's a very common, popular CRM. So I built a custom template for it for my clients.
Okay.
I had a loan officer client who was doing average 2 to 5 loans a month. She said, I went all in on just using your CRM to organize myself. It didn't teach her how to get new business. It didn't teach her how to do better loans. She just stayed organized with her leads. She stayed organized with her contacts, and she followed the proprietary system that I created, like my routine.
Which I'll be doing soon.
Which you'll be doing soon. And she said within 3 months, she went from 2 to 5 to 6 to 7 from consistency.
Wow.
Right. And now I think last month she did 12 units. And again, what she said was, it allowed me to be more organized and spend less time figuring what to do. So then I could spend more time going out and getting more business.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I don't have these up and down months anymore. I'll have a month where one month I do 1 loan, one month I do 5 loans. She's like, I'm just consistent within 1 or 2 loans and slowly growing. And that's a CRM that I think is first and foremost, because that prevents you from losing business.
Yeah.
It creates consistency, prevents you from losing business. Now, the second type of CRM, which is a marketing CRM, that helps you create business. That helps you build business. But they're 2 different functions, because if you have the second CRM that's helping you create business, but then you're not organizing your leads, you're gonna lose efficiency. It's like a leaky bucket, right? One CRM fills the bucket with water. The other CRM is supposed to hold the water so it doesn't leak.
I love that. Yeah. You know, I remember hearing Jay Abraham speak years ago. He said there's only 3 ways to grow a business. There's only 3. He says number 1 is you got to gain more customers, which is a marketing function.
Yep.
And then the second way of growing a business is you have to convert more of those opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, and the third way is to bring those people back to buy something else or something more from you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what you're speaking to. You know, one CRM could be a marketing CRM to bring more customers in or put prospects in. And then the other one is to don't let them fall through the cracks, you know, convert more of those opportunities to business. I love that.
Yeah.
You know?
I heard it a little bit differently, but it's the same way. My mentor said there's only 2 things you do. You build a database and you nurture a database.
Yeah.
Right. But I think Jay Abraham, he's a little bit more correct in the sense that you build the database, you convert the database for a sale, and then in between sales, you nurture them just so that they don't go away, so they don't forget about you. Right. And so those are the 3. And so if you understood database math, like here's database math for you. I'm going to use mortgages as an example.
Okay.
We can use cars as an example too. Actually, cars is a really, really good example. Nobody runs a car business the way people run, let's say, a mortgage business. And I'll show you what I mean. So in mortgages, you know, the average person gets a new mortgage every 3 to 5 years.
Okay. I thought it was longer, but 3 to 5.
It can be as low as 3 if rates are really low and you're going through refinance booms.
Sure.
Not a new house, a new mortgage.
Got it.
Let's be conservative though. The average homeowner gets a new mortgage because they're either going to refinance their home or they're going to get a new home every 5 years. Okay.
Or buy an investment property or a second home, you know.
It's all in that average. It's about 5 years, right? Yeah, buying a second property. The average homeowner actually gets a new house every 7 to 8 years. Okay. So if that's the case, then we only have one job as the loan officer, is to build the database. In other words, build a database of contacts that I'm going to stay in touch with. And that person may not be getting a mortgage for the next 3 to 5 years. But if I put them in my database and I keep in touch with them, when it's time to buy a house or get a new mortgage, they should think of me first.
Yes.
Right. And most business owners don't do that. What they do is they go out and get business and they try to convert the business. And if they don't convert the business, they just forget about that person. And even if they convert that business, they forget about the person.
Yeah.
Right. So let's look at cars. It's the same thing. You know, the average person probably with leases today, it's probably the same cycle. The average person gets a car every 5 years because you're either buying a used car and after 5 years it breaks down. You're getting a lease car, so you're going to average 3 to 4 years, or you're purchasing a car. It might average 7 years, but it's still about every 5 to 6 years.
Sure.
Does your car dealer from 5 years ago stay in touch with you to help you buy your next car?
Generally not.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now maybe it's because you're switching brands, but I know people that have bought BMW after BMW after BMW, right? And so it's just a matter of like staying in touch with them.
Yeah.
I love
that idea.
Chiropractor. Chiropractor is the same thing. I went and saw my chiropractor once, but you know what's crazy? I've never gotten a reminder to come in and check my back or, you know, stay in touch with me. It's like, well, if we don't do that, then how are they gonna come back to us, right? So there was this effort in bringing me in, but what is the effort in making sure that I stay? And that's where a lot of consistency comes in a small business. It's like people spend so much time doing what Jay Abraham says, like you're filling the bucket with water, but you got this bucket that's just leaking all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what the CRM does, the organizational CRM is what keeps it tight.
Love it. Yeah.
That's
I
what you need
bought
for
a
tech.
car. I bought a new truck in April from a dealer here, and the sales guy was great, and it spent several hours with him. I enjoyed him. I even sent him a thank you note for helping me. He's never once reached out. Now it's only been 6 months,
Yeah.
but still, there was never any follow up at all. I'm a little shocked now that you're talking about
Yeah.
that. You know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, when you look at sports, it's the same thing, right? Especially for the golfers out there. You can be
What?
really, really great at driving the ball but have you ever played with a golfer, Mark? He just doesn't make mistakes. He's not flashy, right? But he
Right.
doesn't make mistakes,
Consistent.
right?
Right.
He's consistent, right? And so you got to look at yourself and say, what type of business owner are you? Are you the flashy person, but you tend to make mistakes and you lose balls and you lose clients and things like that? Or are
You
you
go
just
with
like,
me?
are you consistent, right? And then the best golfers and the best business owners are both.
Yeah, they put it together.
And so that's what we use these tools for. So somebody asked me this question the other day. They said, should you work on your strengths or should you work on your weaknesses? Now, should you work on your strengths or should you work on your weaknesses? And my answer is, well, it's a two-part answer. If your weakness is so weak that it's debilitating, you need to get your weakness at least to a minimum level. So like if you're absolutely zero tech savvy, that's not excusable for you to be zero tech savvy. Like you got to get to 20%, whatever the minimum level is. Okay.
Sure.
So if your weakness is non-existent, you got to get it to a minimum.
Okay.
Like if you absolutely suck at putting, okay, you can't say, well, putting's not my strength. It's like, okay, but you got to get a little bit better because it's
right.
it's costing you game.
You can't 3-putt every hole.
Correct. But once you get your weaknesses to a minimum level, what I say is try to spend more time on your strengths, like doing your strengths, and then systemize your weaknesses.
Yeah, or hire it out, which could be a system.
Yeah, which is a system. And a system can be a process. It could be technology. It could be a person.
Sure.
It could be a person. But again, even if you hired out people to do technology for you, you have to get to a minimum level of comprehension and understanding. Otherwise, you can't even lead that person.
Absolutely. You couldn't even tell them what to do.
Correct.
You're
gonna trust them too much. You're gonna miss a lot of detail. You're not gonna be able to guide them.
Let's talk a little bit about I've been on lots of webinars that you've done over the years, yourself and others that you've brought in some specialists on different things. And it seems like the hot button these days, or the shiny object, if you will, is AI. Everybody's talking about AI and how to leverage AI for small business. I'm not talking about for Fortune 500 companies, but how does small business leverage AI? Where do you see that in the overall strategy of a business?
Well, first of all, I want to tell everybody that I think this is more of an older person's word. And I say that, listen, I'm not young. I know I look young.
What's a word older person?
Well, okay. So for the audience, I'm 52 years old. I might look young. It's because I have Asian skin and I dye my hair, right? But I'm 52 years old. I'm just as old as anybody. But I say this because I think this is an older person's word, which is trend. Well, that's the new trend. I hear older people say that more than younger people. That's like, what's the new trend, right? And the reason why I say that is because we need to stop calling technology things trends because they're not trends.
Yeah.
Social media was not a trend. It's a staple.
Right.
AI is not a trend. Right. It's a staple.
It's like the internet.
Correct. The internet wasn't a trend. Computers wasn't a trend. And I think one of the reasons why people don't adapt and adopt because they think something's a trend that's going to go away. Right. And all the people that says, oh, social media and TikTok, it's not going away. It's not going away. That's called denial. No. So first of all, AI is not a trend. So here's the reason why I say that. These things are here to stay. So you need to invest and you need to learn it because you have one of two choices. You learn AI today and be ahead of the curve, or you learn it in 3 years and you're completely so behind the curve, you can't even catch up. And you waited because you thought it was a trend. You waited because you didn't understand what the permanent impact was going to be. You waited because you tell yourself, I'm not good at technology. AI is amazing. It's almost incomprehensible to completely describe AI. But what I can tell you is this. The current version of AI is a version that helps assist and speed up what you do. It's not really at a place that will do everything for you at 100% level. but it definitely
Sure.
will speed up
Sure.
everything that you do. So for example, I use AI a lot to write ad copy, but it's not like I just tell AI, hey, here's a photo, write me ad copy, and then I look at it and I say, oh, that's amazing. Now, the only people would think that's amazing is if you have zero experience writing ad copy and you had this AI engine write it for you, and it's going to look like an AI engine wrote it for you. And again, why? Because you have zero experience writing ad copy. And so let's go back to the other sentence that I said. You need to get yourself to a minimum level, at least understanding how to write ad copy, or else you're going to continue to use the AI written ad copy and it's going to look like AI. Now, I know how to write ad copy, but it takes a long time and it's a pain. But I use AI to spit out drafts for me fast. And so if I'm going to write ad copy, an amateur would say, write me this ad copy. And they would say, oh my God, that's amazing. And they'll post it and it looks like AI. What I do is I say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Give me 5 ad copy samples that I can pick the best from. And AI will write 5 different versions. And I'll say, I like version 1 and 2. Let's go with those. But I want some revisions. And I'll tell it what to do. So I use AI as if it was a delegated person.
I hate to cut you off, man, but as expected, this went very fast. We're about out of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you this was going to go quickly. And I'm looking at my clock over here. I'm thinking, we got to regroup and do this again, for sure, because you've got a lot more to talk about. But we're not out of time. I just wanted to thank you for being my guest today, and I can't wait to see you next time. But next time we'll come back in the studio and keep this conversation alive. Okay.
Yeah. I told you two topics goes really quick, but that's good because that just means you got to tune in the next time. You got to hear part 2.
That's right. You'll be back.